We welcome you to another edition of Battin and Chattin. We welcome you to episode 24 on the Eastern Observer alongside Denis Tuohy. I'm Brandon Natale. Now, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept on the loop on everything Eastern Observer and, most importantly, Battin and Chattin. Our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Now, our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, Satellite Radio, and many others. Dennis, how you doing today on this fine night?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. It's 11:09 Eastern PM. 11:09 PM Eastern time. There we go. Nailed it. So, a little tired, but we shall prevail. Still baseball to talk about. Some new managerial hires. My guy, Ron Washington, getting a gig with the Angels.
Getting a gig.
Some free agents. Some award talk. I mean, there's a little bit of everything.
There's been a lot. I feel like the managerial talks have definitely been huge.
Especially for your guys, the Mets, if that's where you want to start. Craig Counsell to the Cubs.
Yeah, that was a big shocker. And I know a lot of people are very shocked that happened because they literally stole him away from not stole him away, but for him to go to the Cubs after that's the rival. Oh, I don't know. Oh, random thought. You remember Andrew Arilso, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was his birthday today. I didn't know that.
I've seen that on Facebook or Instagram or one of them.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I was at the gym today, and on his Instagram, he has the Jordan jersey on and had 23, like I said, because it was his birthday. So I wish I would have known. I'd be like, hey, happy birthday. Shoot, I hate when people, I don't hate when people don't tell you happy birthday. I get it. They want to be quiet and all that. But no, I mean, hey, I wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, congratulations to him. Happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday. I'll make sure.
Andrew's a nice guy.
When I see him, I'll tell him you said that. But yeah, definitely, a lot of people have been questioning this hire. I mean, I think it's not bad. I was more of wanting Craig Counsell because of what, he brought to the table in terms of his relationship with David Stearns. Their familiarity in Milwaukee, and just, seemed like he knew what he was doing over with the Brewers. I mean, it was either go back to Milwaukee, go to Cleveland, or New York. No one would ever thought Chicago was in the sweepstakes. I mean, I feel bad for David Ross.
Yeah, I have no issues with the Cubs bringing in a new manager. I thought David Ross was fine with the Cubs last year.
Yeah.
But I get it. Craig Counsell is regarded as being a better manager, and that's fine. Do what you got to do what's best for the club. I do think it was a little... I thought, personally, if I was David Ross, I would certainly feel some type of way about it. I thought it was a little shady the way they did it.
Oh, 100%.
The only people that knew were the GM and the owner of the Cubs and Craig Counsell, of course. And then they had to go down to Tallahassee, Florida to fire David Ross. And then, immediately after, announced the Craig Counsell thing. The whole thing was very strange.
Right. I mean, if they were to let him go, why do you do it now? Why do you wait till after the World Series? I mean, was it because of their late collapse during season? I mean, do you think that probably?
I honestly, I don't think that they were trying to get rid of David Ross. I think Craig Counsell, they could have gotten him.
Right, the opportunity.
They could have just gotten a better manager. I don't really think that's why they kept it so buttoned up, was probably because if they didn't get him, all right, well then who else is on the market? Well, nobody they would have wanted probably. I'm sure as the offseason continues, more will come out about it. But just a gut reaction, I thought that was very bizarre. When I first saw it, I was like, isn't David Ross still there? And then I realized it's oh, dang, they straight up fired him for this. Shoot.
Yeah, they did. They did, yeah.
And I feel bad about him because now jobs are being filled up and he's late to the party. You know what I mean? The Angels filled in almost immediately after with Ron Washington. your Mets filled in like immediately after Craig Counsell signed. You guys got Mendoza, who's Carlos Mendoza, right?
Yes, Carlos
And
Mendoza.
who's from my team, the Yankees.
Yes, with
And the Guardians hired
Craig Vogt,
Stephen Vogt.
Stephen Vogt. My bad.
And yeah, so like some of these jobs are being filled. Bob Melvin went to the Giants. Like a lot of the jobs that were available were being filled up. And I feel bad. Like David Ross isn't a bad manager. He's kind of got screwed. Shouldn't say kind of. He really got screwed.
Yeah, oh, 100%. He did a lot for the Cubs organization. He was on them in 2016 with that, the 2016 Cubs legendary team.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he managed, he's just, I mean, he was definitely well respected when he played. And just the fact that, I mean, yeah, he was good. He came back. The coaches, the team where he brought a championship to. I know he won it with Boston. So, I mean, yeah, he definitely got screwed. I get it. I mean, hey, like I said, Craig Counsell was there. They're like, hey, maybe this will up our, our ball club. This will help us. But, I don't know. It definitely was shady. He definitely got screwed. And I mean, hey, hopefully David Ross, I know they said he'll find jobs. I mean, no. Let me say it again. He'll find jobs, throughout the baseball. Because like I said, he's well respected and he has history in the league. So someone will pick him up, whether it's for being a bench coach. I think I saw something where the Yankees might bring him in. Like they would have interest, or I might be wrong with that.
I didn't see that specifically with the Yankees. I wouldn't be surprised if they did like a lot of teams, bring in like guys that have manager experience, even if it's at another role. Like Don Mattingly's a bench coach with the Blue Jays. Like it's not atypical. So I wouldn't be too shocked by that at all. I don't know of any relationship he has directly with the New York Yankees front office or Aaron Boone, but whatever makes him happy. I mean, like it's the dude got screwed, and I don't think the Brewers have filled in anywhere. So could you imagine if David Ross goes to the Brewers? A little rivalry there. Oof.
Wow, yeah, that would definitely be something. I mean,
Exciting.
I know Dennis, you're looking for
yeah, I want marquee headlines. I want headlines. I want draws to the sport. Make me interested.
Yeah, you could see it by just the Cubs Jet Howard on ESPN. It says that from what he says, it was hard to fire David Ross, but Craig Counsell hire was the right move, as you alluding to. That is the president of baseball operations for the Cubs. He said it was the best thing for the fan base, and it was a very hard decision. I don't know. I mean, he signed a big contract too. I mean, it was
highest paid manager ever.
This was no trick or treat. This was no trick. This was definitely a treat for Craig Counsell. And as he signed the biggest managerial contract ever. 5 years for $40 million, according to Jeff Parsons of ESPN. Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, is he worth that much to be paid that much?
No, I don't think so. The thing is with managers in baseball is it's not like the NFL or the NBA or I guess to an extent the NHL. Like how much really does a manager do compared to the other sports? That's obvious to the fans, obvious to the analysts, obvious to the reporters. It's a lot of it is more of like almost being like your team's therapist. No, seriously, it is like
no.
If I watch the NBA, I can tell a good coach from a bad coach based on adjustments, based on strategy, based on formations, based on concepts, things like that. Baseball, it's like, well, your 9 guys are playing the same spot. What else do you need me to say? Right. And then, like, when you make the lineup, you make the lineup. Like, the general manager, listen, like, it's kind of hard to blow games late when you go from having Josh Hader to having Devin Williams.
Right.
That pitching staff is loaded, and they've developed their pitching staff very well.
Yeah.
So, like, how should Craig Counsell get credit?
Right. And it's like they say.
I mean, does he get knocked for the offense not being very good every single postseason? The way we would knock an NBA coach like Doc Rivers for having postseason struggles? I don't know. Like, Well, actually, I do know the answer is no in baseball. We don't care. So I don't understand, especially when you're giving the guy $40 million, the highest paid manager ever, when you already had David Ross. It's very bizarre to me. It's very bizarre. I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of above my pay grade. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I tried. Didn't work out.
I don't know what to tell you. It's crazy. I mean, like you said, how much does a manager do for their ball club? A manager could be only good as his players. You know, like for the Yankees, they had Joe Torre. Like with Joe Torre, he had Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Roger Clemens for a little bit, Andy Pettit.
Teams were loaded.
The team was loaded. So I mean, you play your cards right, you're gonna look like one of the best managers ever. Not to discredit Joe Torre. Like I said, great manager.
Yeah.
Like I said, he had the players to make him successful. Maybe but you know what I'm trying to say.
In his specific case, Joe Torre, I think he did have a hard task. New York media, especially then.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
One, and then two, you had so many veteran guys coming in that you did have to kind of like sell, somebody like Darryl Strawberry of like, hey, you're going to be, a starting left fielder, but you're also going to be on the bench a lot. Or, Rock Raines, who turned out to be a Hall of Famer. Like, you're going to be batting, 8th or 9th in the lineup, and you're going to have to be okay with that. One of my favorite stories of like how the Yankees were dominant in that time is in 2000, they traded for Jose Canseco specifically so the Red Sox going to get him. Did no other reason. Didn't fit the team. They already had guys. They didn't need him at all. They just got him so their opponents want to get him. And they only played him against those teams that wanted him. And like he said, like Canseco said, when he got there, Joe Torre sat him down and said, you're not going to play a lot for us. This is why we brought you in, and just stay ready. So, okay, he appreciated the upfrontness. And he was like, all right, I could get another ring, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I mean,
so like those teams, like it is different. Like people say, like, well, it's not hard to be, and I guess I just did this 5 minutes ago. It's not hard, or 3 minutes ago. It's not hard to manage a team when you have a loaded roster. And I was talking about Craig Counsell and that pitching staff. But at the same time, too, you do need to sell guys on this is going to be your role on the team. And sometimes it's hard for players to talk themselves into that role. Their vision and a manager's vision or general manager's vision may not always align. So, that's kind of what I mean by being the therapist of the team is, making sure everybody's happy or at least content with one another.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you also got to know baseball and what you're doing. Like, you can't just throw someone out, on the street and just, thinking they know what they're doing. Like baseball, obviously, you got to know the analytics, the players. It's in the league in itself, especially on your team. Not just on your team, but like on the opposing team, like how they fare against lefties and righties. What's their strengths, what's their weaknesses. Like where they should be put in the batting order. So, I mean, I guess I could see it from that aspect.
Yeah.
But either way, though, I mean, good for the Cubs. I mean, Craig Counsell, that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Big decision. I mean, big coaching change. We'll see how that goes. That would be interesting to see if David Ross would go to Milwaukee.
I hope Ross goes there because it will be interesting. And then there you get your question: who's the better manager? Who does better with the other one's team? Right. Obviously, both teams have free agents walking. Cubs have maybe a little more, but certainly nobody like Bellinger is on the Brewers walking like that kind of player. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe Bellinger goes back.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know the Yankees, before we get back into the managerial talk, I know the Yankees are actually interested in him.
Yeah, they just met with him yesterday, 2 days ago, today, sometime this weekend. I don't know.
That'd be good for the Yankees.
Yeah. Some of the prices, this is always kind of weird. some of the projections, the evaluations on how much he's going to be getting paid seem to be a little steep, but I don't know. That kind of stuff you never really know. It's never really exact. They're always kind of just guess it. And the agent always hyperinflates it to kind of draw off the shenanigans. So
sounds like a lot of shenanigans, yeah.
Yeah. And hey, I like Bellinger. I mean, he's a lefty. Lord knows the Yankees need that. Got a good swing. It's just everything's there, man. He's had some really bad seasons with the Dodgers, but he turned it around with the Cubs. I shouldn't say really, but he was like borderline unplayable last year. The year beforehand, he wasn't very good either. But he was also one of those guys coming into the season. People said banning of the shift would benefit him astronomically more than other players in the league. So maybe there is just something to it that last year shift heavy and it just kind of killed him. And then this year, without that shift being there, it kind of opened him up a little more. We'll see what happens. He fits the Yankees perfectly fine as long as that consistency is there. If you bat like 285 for the Yankees, like I can't see him failing. He's an elite defenseman.
I mean, better than 285 would be like golden to what was the batting order in the Yankees last year.
Oh, you're telling me.
So I mean, yeah, you bring that in. That's definitely a great start to the offseason for Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone for the Bronx Bombers, and the Bleacher Creatures would love him. I saw something today. What do you say?
No, I just agreed with you. I said
yeah. I saw something else today about the Yankees that the Red Sox would actually have interest in trading for Gleyber Torres, and they would give them Alex Verdugo. Did you see that?
Unfortunately, I did.
It'd be good for the. I mean, I don't know. Would he fit that Yankee? I don't know. I remember
that would be such a stupid trade.
It would be, yeah.
I guess the thinking would be get Alex Verdugo to solve the outfield problem. Put DJ LeMahieu at second. Their infield is mystery third baseman. I guess Peraza, Volpe at shortstop, LeMahieu, and then Rizzo at first. But LeMahieu at third, DJ at second or first, like whatever. Like DJ can play multiple positions. It to me it doesn't matter. Like I keep Gleyber Torres. A lot of Yankee fans don't like Gleyber Torres and they think he's overrated. But it's like statistically, you look at his numbers and the way you classically view second baseman or somebody like Robbie Cano or I guess not Willie Randolph, but like some other like second baseman pick, Chuck Knobloch, some other second baseman in the past. It's a different era of second baseman nowadays. Like it's probably I think it might be safe to say it's the most shallow position in the league.
Really?
So offensively at least.
Right.
So like I kind of I like Gleyber Torres because once again I see him in relation to other second basemen in the league. Alex Verdugo, I kind of feel like if I could just get a free agent without giving up my second baseman, then why would I? And if I could get a free agent outfielder, and there's guys out there, once again, why wouldn't I? And two, then I could take that second baseman, who I'm okay, obviously, with dealing, and addressing another need, maybe another starting pitcher or something like that. Like Alex Verdugo for Gleyber Torres, that doesn't seem right at all. Especially when you're giving a right-handed hitter to the Red Sox at Fenway Park, where right-handed hitters have always flourished because freaking Green Monster is just an auto hit.
Yeah, literally. I definitely when you said that Yankee fans have mixed feelings about Gleyber Torres, I know definitely that definitely for sure. I remember when I was at one of the Yankees Red Sox games in the summer. I remember bleacher section. I was talking to one fan and he's like, literally the guy, he was actually a great Yankee fan, actually a great bleacher creature. Like it was actually like everybody was, bleacher creatures, But this guy was actually really nice. I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, Gleyber is like, I don't know. But like literally Gleyber had like maybe the best day. He had the worst day and then the best day. Like I remember defensively, he gave up an error. And then that same inning, he had a home run. So I was like, is Gleyber on your nice list now? He's like, yeah. And it's literally so like up in the air. Oh, like, I don't know about Gleyber, so I can't stay. I can't wait for him to leave. Like he's on my bad list of Yankees. The next inning hits the home run, and I'm like, I'm like, what about now? He's like, no, he's off it. And then it's literally mixed emotions with players. And I get it. I'm the same. Who isn't the same way? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed it specifically more with Glaber. Is that a lot of fans, and I think maybe it's because his rookie season he was so dominant, and maybe that's why like people kind of have a standard for him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Verdugo is the guy for Gleyber Torres. I don't think you're winning that trade for a 1-for-1. I don't think so. I found the Yankees I want more than that, especially giving you to a rival. And I get it. Verdugo solves some Yankee problems as a solid left fielder, but to me, it's not worth it at all.
Yeah, I've heard of Verdugo plenty.
Solid left fielder for elite second baseman. I don't know. That seems kind of odd, especially like I said, when second base is a shallow position. Continue.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like he would fit the Yankees. Yeah, I mean, he's an outfielder. I know he's pretty decent. I remember hearing about him when Bleacher Section there. One guy kept chanting his name nonstop throughout the game. So that's how I know about Verdugo. So sounds like a solid utility player for the Yankees. I mean, especially in the outfield, like you said, that'll solve the problems. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely for any just trading for Gleyber Torres, like you said, especially when I saw Red Sox, I was like, really? It's like Red Sox. That's not something I heard of. Yankee Red Sox trade. It's like if the Jets and the Patriots were to make a trade, which never happens.
Yeah, I can't recall a Yankee Red Sox trade ever.
It just doesn't
happen.
happen.
I don't know if there have been. There definitely has. Obviously, the rumored Joe DiMaggio for Ted Williams trade, but it's
the great Bambino.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. If we want to go back 100 years,
if you want to go back, I mean, that's the reason why they had a curse for almost 86 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any others. There have been plenty of guys that have played for both teams. But obviously the Yankees swooped in and stole A-Rod, which I think the Red Sox are happy with not making that trade. Manny Ramirez dragged them to a champion. I shouldn't say they dragged them. That team was good, but
was anybody supposed to be part of that? Like, wait,
it was supposed to be Manny Ramirez for A-Rod.
Really?
Manny Ramirez going to Texas, A-Rod going to Boston.
But then the Yankees ended up trading for him.
Yeah, Yankees traded Alfonso Soriano and a few other pieces for A-Rod.
Wow, Alfonso, right. I know Alfonso Soriano.
Which a lot of people can make the argument might have actually been a bad trade for the Yankees, given Alfonso Soriano's role and like the style of player he was may have been a little better, like fit-wise, but at the same time too, you can't say no to A-Rod.
I mean, Alfonso Soriano, I remember like him playing, like growing up, like him playing. I know he was on the Cubs, and I remember when he got traded back to the Yankees organization.
I love that. I was stoked when that happened.
He was big. I remember that, So, and I think he was on the Nationals for a little bit too.
He was 40-40 with the Nationals in 2006.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah. The only, up until Ronald Acuna Jr., the only 40-40 guy that was clean.
So, yeah, he's a highly regarded prospect that the Yankees gave up.
Yeah. Oh, he would have won the World Series MVP in 01 if they had held on. He had a good World Series in 03 as well. Right?
Let me see.
Yeah, no, A-Rod wasn't on the team in 03.
He wasn't, no. He was on it in 04. Yeah. I just remember, like, looking back. I guess that explains because, like, when I look back at the highlights of, I don't know why, like, that's one of my favorite things, just watching the Red Sox and Yankees at that 04 ALCS, and just looking back and, like, you see, like, I remember when they clinched it in Game 7 to win the pennant in 04, the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
They pinned the A-Rod so much, and I'm like, and I guess I look back and I'm like, yeah, I see why, because, like, of the off season and then the fights that season, the rivalry, just that rivalry was insane back then. Alfonso Soriano, here he is.
03 was his last season with the Yankees. I didn't look it up.
It had to have been.
Before, obviously, he came back in, 10 or 11 or something like that, 12.
Oh, did he win the World Series with them in 2000?
Maybe he did. He probably would have won the MVP if they won in 01, because what he did in Game 7. He put them ahead.
He only played for He was on 90 in 99. He only played 9 games. In
He was a
2000, he played
rookie.
22. Right. And then in 2000, it was only 22 games. So I don't think he would have qualified. But 2001, that's when he really started to like play more and more. Like he
Started
played
taking base now.
158 games. Like that's when he became like a full-time starter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so let's see. And then he got traded to Texas. And the first year was in 04. Let me see, because I know
He was only in Texas for 2 years.
he was only on it for 2 years. Yeah.
Wow,
And,
Jesus!
yeah.
They traded A-Rod for 2 years of Alfonso Soriano. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, and he was great with the Nationals. 46. Yeah, that's
It
insane.
wasn't long. It was only what, 2, maybe 3 seasons tops.
With what? The Nationals?
Yeah, maybe even only one.
He was only on there for 1 season.
Jesus, could you imagine? Only on a team for 1 year. Probably their best season ever by a position player. Sure, people say, well, Bryce Harper won an MVP. He didn't, whatever. 40-40 is insane back then. Especially back then. Oh, my God.
Yeah, back then, honestly, if you could steal the bases, shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, he led the league in 02 with 41.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about Alfonso Soriano, but we got to get back to
Sorry.
the itinerary. No. Don't be. We're talking about managing. How did we
Let's
even
talk
get here?
about Carlos Mendoza.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think as a Met fan? I honestly, I don't have an opinion on him. He's a Yankees bench coach. Once again, I couldn't tell you what he actually did. So, but he was always getting floated. You guys have wanted Carlos Mendoza for like ever. I feel like he was always in your guys' coaching talk.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I like it. It's interesting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, get some water. He's definitely a young coach. I think that's people saying that's what the Mets need. I think the Mets probably should have went for an experienced guy. Experienced guy. If that's so, then we never should have got rid of Buck. I like it. I mean, Aaron Boone, from what he says via SNY, Andy Martino, he says he's smart, tough, prepared, works his butt off. He has earned this opportunity because I know he was with the organization for at least 15 years. We'll see. I like it. I mean, it seems like he knows what he's doing. I'm just hoping that this is not another young manager, inexperienced, that is only here for 2 seasons and then they let him go. We'll see. Because, like I said, I thought it was great when I hired Buck Showalter. I thought that was great. Because experience, and really the Mets were doing fine. It's just last season was just a bit like just a fumble. I get it that David Stearns comes in. He wants to clean house. But I don't know. We'll see. I just hope it's not, that's I'm just hoping this is not another young manager that's inexperienced and that, he's getting shipped off, but we'll see.
I actually thought that Ron Washington would have been a good fit for you guys. So I agree with you. I think you guys needed a very experienced manager. Especially because of all the reports that, I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but all the reports that your locker room isn't exactly great.
Yeah, so it's like,
which I don't know how much I believe it. We've gone through it a million times down here. We don't got to do it again. But the whole Alonzo McNeil Lindor stuff, but like, yeah, that would kind of make me think if it was true, if we had the awareness for the organization to kind of think like, well, maybe bring in someone who's kind of got experience. Ron Washington managed those Rangers teams that made the World Series in 10 and 11. Kind of bring in someone that has, experience.
Level experience.
He's been in the league forever as a coach. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, have someone that the players, like, if you don't respect Ron Washington, like, you're the problem. Kind of like, instead of having someone have to earn it. But I guess they could also look at it and say, well, Buck Showalter didn't really pan out well either. So, I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the Mets are going to do this offseason. This is their first real move. Well, second real move.
If they were going to hire someone that with experience, like I said, they should have just kept Buck Showalter when all said and done. I mean, Yeah, I remember Ron Washington back then from the Texas days. I mean, credit to him getting the job at the Angels. Hopefully, he does. I mean, whether Shohei goes back or not, that's no matter what. Anaheim or Los Angeles, whatever you want to call the team, it's still a good place to manage. But yeah, I mean, who knows what's going on with the clubhouse? I mean, from what I know, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what goes on with that. But maybe a young and a new, fresh, energetic coach. Maybe that's what they need. But like I said, I mean, it's like to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, they won 100 games the first season with Buck Showalter. They were doing good. Everything was fine. It's just like I said, last season, it just wasn't their year. Except for Kodai Senga. That was his year. You know, that was his
year. Yeah. The whole Buck Showalter thing to me is still bizarre.
Yeah, it's crazy that
he was given
scapegoat.
all the credit in 22 for them succeeding. And you hear what, like Lindor had to say, and Alonso, and a lot of the guys on the team had to say about him. And I think even Max Scherzer praised him.
They said Alonso already went to he walked in someone's front office. Like he was, saying he was not happy when he heard that Showalter was leaving.
Yeah, and then the whole thing is strange, man. The whole thing is strange. And I hope that they give Mendoza a real shot. Especially because, once again, they've been interviewing this guy since freaking Terry Collins was fired, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean,
I feel like every single time the Mets have an open position on their coaching staff, Mendoza's name comes up every single time. So I'm not reporting they've been trying to get him since Terry Collins. I'm just saying that it feels like they've been really getting after him for a while.
Yeah, and
I remember when Rojas was relieved, and obviously they went with Showalter, but Mendoza was one of the finalists. They were always trying to get him, and now he's finally here. And I hope that they give him at least give him the respect to have an actual tenure and not just one season.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, hey, you know what? He was in New York for a long time, whether it's a player or being the bench coach. He's been in the atmosphere. So anybody that can play, that could coach and play in New York, they can obviously fit. Hopefully they can be able to take on being the Mets manager, because obviously it's the Mets. It's a tough organization. It's pretty cutthroat. Winning, you're gonna be out. That's why credit to Terry Collins. He stayed as long as he did for the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, but I like it though. I mean, this is not a bad hire. It's an interesting hire, but it's not a bad hire. Like I said, they should have went with someone with experience. But I mean, hey, we'll see. It's going to be it's going to be definitely interesting to see how this goes. But like I said, this is one of the first moves of the Mets offseason. So it's going to be interesting to see now what they do. Free agency is secondly on the way. Trades can happen soon. I mean, I know they just canceled the GM meetings because a couple of executives got some type of virus. We'll get into later, but
it's unreal. That is so
we'll get into that later. But I mean, so I don't know. I try to keep positive. I like it. We'll see. And I hope for the best, because hopefully, press conference is going to be interesting. I'm going to like to hear what he's going to have to say, and
yeah, that's going to tell me a lot.
Yeah, let me see what else I can find on. It's crazy we couldn't get NYM News to talk. Maybe I'm not going to close the door on that, but maybe we'll talk to him in the future. Or like to see what he would have thought on this hire, because it's definitely very interesting. But a lot of praise for Mendoza, and we'll see. I mean, but like I said, I like the hire. Now, other things on the Mets, they settled. Well, actually, no. Let's get to. So we talked about Mendoza, and you said Ron Washington, right?
I'm sorry, did you ask me something?
Yes, for Ron Washington.
I'm sorry, would you ask? I was looking at something. It was baseball related.
How did he end up being hired by the Angels?
I have no idea what made them want to get him, but I guess I don't know if it was just kind of the Rangers' success on the brain led to it. I'm not really 100% certain. went with. But like, he is one of the most experienced baseball coaches on God's green earth. So like, I gotta say, like, I'm surprised he hadn't had a job since then. And listen, you always kind of hate bringing it up, but like, a big reason for him not having a gig since 2014 with the Rangers was he had like an issue with cocaine or something like that. There was it's definitely something cocaine related, but there might have been something else too that was off field that kind of made him kind of get put on the back burner. 71 years old, so you want to talk about experience. I mean, dude's seen a lot of ball. His career record is 664 wins, 611 losses. And he was stoked. He said, I'm lost for words, but not the work it will take. So, but not the work it will take. That's kind of confusing me. But yeah, he was yeah, and I like that the general manager of the Braves, Alex Anthopoulos, kind of gave him respect. He said he's everything you could want. He deserves the opportunity. He's excited, obviously. I'm excited for him. It's a huge loss for us, the Braves. I emphasize that in caps, bold, italicize, all of it. Huge void, but I had 6 years with him, and I can't imagine I'll be around a guy like that in my entire career. So congratulations to him. He's bringing kind of a couple of guys with him. He brought in Eric Young from the Braves, one of their coaches. He brought in Torrey Hunter to be their first base coach, former Angel great and Twins great, Torrey Hunter, and Chili Davis, the first Jamaican baseball player who was with the Angels for a little bit in the 80s and 90s.
Chili Davis. That sounds right.
As a hitting coach. He was with the Yankees as a hitting coach. He might have also been with the Mets as a hitting coach.
He was with the Mets. Yeah, he was with the Mets.
So
he's great with
he's going in there. And one thing with Ron Washington, he is the best defensive coach in Major League Baseball. Easy. You saw in the Moneyball movie that he was like regarded then as being an excellent defensive head coach. So you can manage coach.
Okay.
I guess. Now as manager, you know that team is going to be short fundamentally, play good baseball, and we'll see what he could do with this roster. They keep bringing managers in since Mike Scioscia left to try and salvage Mike Trout and the Angels. And now next man up, it's Ron Washington. Let's see what he's got. I'm excited for him, man. I'm glad to see him get another gig.
Well, speaking of Chili Davis, he won the World Series with the Yankees in '99, and then I believe '98 too. He was wow. I guess
he had a good career, man. He had a very good career.
He was the first Jamaican player. He was the first Jamaican MLB player.
Yeah.
Really?
Jamaican born, I guess.
Okay, right.
Should specify. And I guess the second was probably Devin White.
Yeah, he had a great career, but not good for Ron Washington. Definitely sounds like a great coaching staff he's bringing over too.
Yeah, they're all like, they're guys, man. They're guys.
Yeah, they're not nobodies. These are sort of MLB, baseball legends in a way. Especially Torrey Hunter. I remember he was playing for a long time.
Oh yeah, and once again, what's he known for? Excellent defense. So that's it. Seems like they're gonna kind of, if I'm just guessing, reading the tea leaves, a very fundamentally based team. Which this is kind of a changing of the guard. They got Logan O'Hoppe coming up. Like they got younger guys coming up, Zach Nito, some of these other guys that are young, kind of shore them up. And maybe bring in like a veteran with like real experience kind of remotivates Anthony Rendon, who that's always kind of been the criticism of him since he signed that gaudy contract in the 2019 offseason, that motor isn't where it used to be. So not a completely uncommon or atypical of guys that sign ridiculous contracts, but nevertheless, they're expecting a lot out of him and they've gotten a whole lot of nothing. So obviously Mike Trout's going to be there. Perhaps not Ohtani, but we'll see. Maybe he goes back. It definitely will feel weird seeing Ohtani in another uniform if he does move. But yeah. Any other managers, coaching you want to talk about, or do you want to move on?
I feel like we covered all the basics. I mean, we talked about Bob Melvin plenty. That happened a while ago. Quick counsel, Ron Washington.
Do you have any opinions on Stephen Vogt going to the Guardians? I really don't. First-time manager. Good for him. Taking over for a Hall of Famer, Tito Francona.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think, that's going to be big to fill, especially manager like Terry Francona.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That's all I got to cover for that. But yeah, I mean, congrats to all the managerial hires. I know the Mets are not going to hire a GM just as yet. Well,
that's odd.
Yes, that's what David Stern says. He said something like there's too much going on right now, or there's already enough going on. But it's the same thing that happened last year, like a couple years ago. That's why then have a baseball operations or a GM.
This is kind of the time to have a GM. I'm not trying to doubt the guy. He just got there, but it's kind of strange.
I'll take this because, I mean, they were looking for a president of baseball operations. They didn't have it.
Yeah.
They were waiting for a long time. They were waiting for a while. They're like, all right, we're waiting. Right moment. Now David Stearns, I guess he's filling in as GM and president. Baseball operations, they kind of need, we'll see. I saw today that Pete Alonso trade rumors are coming back up again.
Yeah, I saw Keith Hernandez say something about that he thinks it would be a bad idea for them to trade him.
If they traded him, one of the worst things the Mets could do. It'd be like when John Tavares left the Islanders to go to Toronto. Because Alonso, they would lose a lot of the fan base. He's such a fan favorite. He's what Jeter was to the Yankees. Not comparing him to Jeter, but I'm saying how Yankees fans looked at Jeter, we look at Alonso. He's just great personality, great player. I mean, hitting 40 home runs left and right. When's the last time Met has hit multiple 40 home run seasons? He had 50 home runs, and just, ingrown talent, homegrown, as they developed him in the farm system. He came up for the Mets. This is a player the Mets should lock up. If they were to trade him or if they were to lose him, it would not be good. It would not be a good day. It would be like when the Mets traded Tom Seaver. Not comparing him to Seaver, but I'm just saying this would be like history repeating itself.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I think the audience does too. Listen, I've been a broken record at this point. We should try to make it a drop. Me talking about it's stupid for them to trade Alonso because for all the reasons you just laid out, as tacky as it is to say, having a face of a team does mean something, and I guess they want that to be Lindor. If they move on from Alonso, I guess that would be their thinking. But at the same time, too, Alonso's homegrown. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't traded for. He was brought up through the system.
He was drafted. He was brought up. Yeah.
Tremendous rookie season.
Amazing.
He's had good seasons for you. Good power hitter. He's the kind of guy you can build around. And I'm kind of surprised they haven't tried to extend him yet, man. I'm just saying. The whole Alonso thing. Something's going on there. It's strange.
They supposedly have gone on. They started talking extensions. Now, I mean, whether it could be the same thing with Judge. Judge was betting on himself. They offered him 7 years, 213. He said, "Nope, I'm better than that." What'd he do? He went on and he had one of the best seasons ever for a player, maybe just in Yankee history or just as a player. So he bet on himself and he didn't sign the extension until that offseason. It's kind of the same thing, I guess, right now with Alonso. They have been talking extensions. As of recently, I saw a report on it, but I think and the Andy Martino and SNY, he said it And he hit it right on the head. Like, an extension could happen months from now, maybe a year from today, because, who knows how much he's going to drive up his value more. And he has Scott Boras as his agent now. He just dumped his longtime agent. So this,
Never hearing about
that. It's time you got Scott Boras as your, you represent your agent. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. Scott Boras, great for the players. Yeah. Gets them a lot of money. Doesn't make it easy on anyone. So I don't know exactly like what they're thinking. Alonso Boras did, I guess, his camp, his entourage. I don't understand. But if you're the Mets, honestly, maybe even before you start getting like aggressive in the free agent market, I think you got to try to talk Alonso into extending. Just so you're, I shouldn't say
I get it. Yeah, I agree.
Free agents, but like in terms of concern, I think that should be better, maybe higher than getting some of these free agents, specifically because you got to send the message to your audience that we're trying to build something not only long term, but we're trying to keep what we have, keep the good and add to it and build around Lindor and Alonso with some of these more supplementary pieces, whether the young guys like Brett Beatty or Francisco Alvarez, or some veterans like Starling Marte or
Senga.
Senga, who's finished his rookie season, but an older guy. It's
Nemo, McNeil,
yeah. So like I don't know. I would try to get Alonso as soon, locked down. So you get it.
I agree. You want to keep your build, and that's how you build a structured and functional and structured organization. You keep the players that you've developed and you have, and I definitely agree with that. That's definitely going to be really interesting. I mean, like I said, I don't know when the extension's going to. I don't know when they're going to talk about an extension. Could be a long time from now, but we'll see. It's definitely going to be really interesting to see what's going on with Steve Cohen. I mean, like, just because the guy has billions of dollars, championships aren't going to come right away.
No.
Well, I hope that he stays. I don't think an extension. I'd be shocked if an extension happens like soon. It'd be great, but it depends. I mean, if you have Scott Boras as your agent, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I'm not trying to discredit Scott Boras, but like I said, I just think they're really going to just, in terms of extensions, it's going to be really hard to come by.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, I think Scott Boras takes pride in you saying that, so it's certainly not offensive. Like, hey, you're well known for getting your players. Like, you're well known for being the undisputed best sports agent ever. Like, wow, such an insult. So it's whatever, man. Like, the guy's made so much freaking money for himself and his players. I respect it, man. He's a monopoly on the league's best players. Like,
how did he come to fruition? Do you know this story?
No idea. That's something for another day. But he's been at it for a long time. I know that.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, hey,
he's been at it for like over 30 years, I guess.
Probably, yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, luckily, the thing what happened with Carlos Correa, luckily that didn't damage the relationship between Boras and the Mets. I know a lot of people saying, luckily, they got to be careful because, like,
listen, not for nothing, but if Scott Boras holds a grudge on the Mets for him trying to con them, come on.
That's bad on him.
Yeah. And listen, everybody's the hero of their own story. I get it. But, like, dude, come on. They did try metaphorically, like, selling damaged goods to the Mets.
Yeah. And, like,
what do you expect the Mets to say? Come on.
I don't know why the Mets really bought into that. Like, I mean, because, it fell through with the Giants. So, okay. All right. You know what? They didn't believe their reports. So, all right, we'll give them the $360 million. And then the Mets do their medical reports, do the physicals, and they're like, hey, all right, yeah, maybe the Giants were onto something that, we didn't want to believe. And yeah, so luckily they caught on to that. The Mets, I feel like, have dodged a lot of bullets, and we'll get into that another day. But yeah, I'm just looking on Scott Boras right now. He pursued his undergraduate studies at Pacific while playing for the Pacific Tigers baseball team. Sorry, he was a former baseball player. Then he went on to earn his doctor of pharmacy. Okay. Then his law degree from McGeorge. Okay. Okay, good for Scott Boras.
Contract law, probably.
And he
Wow,
says,
Dennis, you really put that together.
was that?
I said contract law, probably, and I thought to myself and said out loud, like, yeah, you really put that together, huh? Like, that's
Yeah.
obviously.
For pharmacy and then heading into law. Hey, shoot. That's crazy.
Wow, that's a zag. He's a
Yeah.
drug dealer. No, I'm kidding.
God, he's Walter White. He said, obviously, he makes commissions based on his maximum 5% fee that the MLB agents are allowed to charge. So,
How much? 5%?
5%.
5% of $300 million is $30 million. Well, yeah, when you have half the league on your payroll, probably making a pretty penny there.
Probably, it has to be around that. Either way, 5% has to be a lot. Damn, I guess that must be something they might have come up in the labor agreement deal in the union where, like, agents.
Yeah, to stop agents from screwing over their players.
Over the players, right.
I don't know if that's a thing in other leagues. I know, like 10 years ago, Tim Duncan's agent got sued by Tim Duncan for stealing all his money.
Really?
Yeah, and Kevin Garnett defended the agent in court because he didn't steal Kevin Garnett's money. They had the same agent. Unrelated.
Either way, they said the Giants, the Cubs, and the Mariners would be teams that would be interested in Alonso. It's interesting. The Giants, I feel like the Giants, they keep trying to go after good names and they just can't seem to get them.
Oh, I didn't say this on here. I said it on another show I was on for a bit.
Right.
Yeah, when we talk about what moves the Yankees should make, I have an idea, and then it involves the San Francisco Giants.
Is it for Michael Conforto?
That's adorable. No. Carlos Rodon for Mike Yastrzemski and like a prospect or two from the Giants.
Okay.
I don't think Rodon's. I don't think he's a Yankee. I don't think. Too injury prone. He hasn't really handled the media well. All right, fine. Guys need to settle in. Sure, whatever. But the Giants are not in a position to say no to that trade under any circumstance. So, like, they have a finalist for the Cy Young Award in Logan Webb this year, and nobody cares. Nobody even saw it coming. Nobody even saw it coming because they were that, like, their pitching staff was that irrelevant. We'll get to the finalists in a bit, maybe, but I don't know how you could say Logan Webb is the top 3 pitcher in the National League this year. That's between you and whatever deity you pray to if you pray to one. But that to me is crazy. But that being said, they also don't have a pitching staff. They literally have Logan Webb, Camilo Duvall in the pen, and Alex Cobb. Not for nothing. Alex Cobb isn't exactly Juan Marichal. So we'll see what happens. But I think, yeah. The Giants, you want to talk about a team that needs to make moves? That general manager desperately needs to make moves.
Yeah, like I said, like I feel bad. They've been trying to go after star free agents and just star players, and they have failed at every single attempt.
Yeah, listen, I know I'm in the minority here. I don't know Aaron Judge personally. Shocking, I know. But I think that if the Yankees won the championship in 2022, I think he might have gone to the Giants. I don't think he was ever going to go to the San Francisco Giants, not for a second. Until the report that said Arson Judge goes to the Giants, I was shocked when that happened. But before that, I not for a second I think he's going anywhere than the Yankees. Carlos Correa going to the Giants, I wasn't too shocked by. But they need to make moves, man. They really need either completely rebuild or don't. That 2021 season was such like, people say a blessing in disguise. That was a curse in disguise. And shame on the front office for thinking that a bunch of, mid-30s to high 30-year-old players. That is that even a phrase to say about someone's age? High 30s? I don't know. But guys around that age, Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, all three of them had sensational seasons in 21. And they had Kevin Gausman as well. There was another veteran pitcher. Like, all those guys had career years, and they just talked themselves into, oh, this is going to be the standard. And it wasn't. It wasn't. So, now I don't know. That team needs to really figure it out, man. So whether it's with Alonso or not, that team needs to figure it out.
Yeah.
And even if you're Pete Alonso, then you're Pete Alonso. Who else is on your team? Like, you're in a tough division, man. You have the Padres, the Dodgers. Oh, and the team that went to the World Series. Have fun. It's strange. They're in a very bizarre predicament. Very bizarre predicament. So,
yeah, I mean, it should be interesting what goes on with that organization. But we'll see. I guess now the next topic would be the MLB canceling the remainder of the GM meetings over an unknown stomach virus afflicting over 30 attendees.
yeah, so that's what I was looking up when you asked me that question. It says this is according to Saurus. I think it's Saurus, right? Sounds like what canceled the GM meetings. This is on Twitter. Sounds like what canceled the GM meetings was the norovirus. So I have one question and one question alone. Who touched poop and didn't wash their hands? I guess that's how you get it. Almost like an E. coli thing. Not a doctor. Once again, shocking, I know. But, yuck. Ugh. I have no thoughts on this one. Guys, wash your hands.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like everyone's like getting sick.
Yeah. I'm not a germaphobe, but I wash my hands I get weird with it. When I use a public bathroom, I wash my hands before and after I use the bathroom.
Right. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of people
I'm a custodian. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah, you gotta.
Hey, someone's gotta get their hands dirty. I mean, money's gotta come somewhere, So I mean, hey, I mean, that sucks. I mean, I hate the stomach virus. I used to get the stomach virus as a kid a lot.
Noro?
Not noro, but
just a regular stomach virus.
Yeah, just like a stomach virus, I mean,
yeah.
Not noro. Oof.
Yeah, I was gonna say it
sounds like something like in today's day. I don't know if noro. I don't know how long noro has been around. I'm not no doctor in terms of. I know
it doesn't seem like it's really that serious. It seems like it's just like a stomach virus. Maybe once again, don't be eating, don't be touching. Waste.
Yeah, gotta be smart. But more either way. So hopefully those people get
This isn't the sanitation pod.
It's not the sanitation pod. This is the Battin Chattin podcast. Executives predict that Shohei will land to the Dodgers. Any thoughts on that? It's not new, honestly.
Wow, what a limb to go out on! Shocking. Wow, what a hot take. Let's lead with this one. Whoa, I don't think you need to be the Oracle of Delphi to figure that one out. Ancient Greek on that one. Was it the Oracle of Delphi or Delhi or something like that? The chick who could see the future and told Spartacus, whatever. We're getting off. But you don't need to be able to see the future. You don't need to be Doctor Strange. A little more contemporary. To say Shohei Ohtani, the front runner, is the team that has more money than God. Back after this. Wow, thanks. Thanks for your input. That was like me piecing together that Scott Boris's law degree is probably in contract law. Huh? Nothing gets past you, Marty Brodeur. Nothing gets past you. Whatever. I can move on.
It is what it is. All right. Anything else? I think we covered everything.
Oh, the awards, buddy. Come on. Silver Slugger, Gold Gloves.
Okay, sure.
MLB, they don't have a separate awards thing. Oh my god, am I gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way when I go on my Instagram?
Yes, you are. It's your turn.
Whoa. Jesus, some of these ads. Hey. Here we go. I have the Silver Sluggers. Would you like me to read them off?
I know Lindor was one of them, but yes, keep going.
Starting in the American League. It's nothing against Lindor. It's the way they had it. The catcher representing the Baltimore Orioles, Adley Rutschman, switch hitting catcher. Second year man.
Okay.
Representing the Tampa Bay Rays in first base, Yandy Diaz had a sensational season. Underrated. Second baseman and Texas Ranger World Series champion, Marcus Semien, who's also an MVP finalist. Go figure. Shortstop and led the league in hits. Good for Marcus Semien. Career year. Shortstop of the Texas Rangers, his double playmate, Corey Seager. Third baseman representing the Boston Red Sox, Rafael Devers. I am shocked. I thought Jose Ramirez would have gotten it. Outfielder, Kyle Tucker of the Houston Astros, Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners, and Luis Robert Jr. of the Chicago White Sox. And the designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Angels, and utility Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles. Do you want me to read the National League, or do you want to talk about that? Or
Read the National.
This was kind of what was expected. So, National League.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. The catcher representing the Milwaukee Brewers, William Contreras. First baseman representing the Atlanta Braves, Matt Olson. Second baseman, this is obvious, representing the Miami Marlins, my Marlins, Luis Arias. Shortstop representing Buddy's New York Metropolitans, Francisco Lindor. Third baseman, Adley Riley. That's not it. Austin Riley. That's it. Of the Atlanta Braves. Outfield, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves and MVP finalist. Mookie Betts, Los Angeles Dodgers. Juan Soto of the San Diego Padres. Designated hitter, Bryce Harper of Philadelphia. And the utility, Cody Bellinger of the Chicago Cubs. Congratulations.
I think it's good to see Lindor on there.
Yeah.
I know he definitely played pretty good defensively this year. Good to see him on the list.
Yeah, I can't find the Gold Gloves. Am I going to actually have to search it? 2023 Gold Glove. Oh my gosh. Here we go. MLB.com. Hopefully they did a little better than that last site. They didn't. they did it. They didn't make it all easy for me. Okay, the 2023 Gold Glove Awards are out. There are 13 first-time winners, the second most since the award was established in 1957, trailing only last year's 14. It's also the fourth consecutive year that there have been at least 10 first-time winners, extending a record. And 2 rookies won the Gold Glove Awards, one in each league. One of them is Anthony Volpe. All right. So they don't start with catcher, and that's kind of getting me very mad. From the American League, first baseman Nathaniel Lowe of the Texas Rangers. Good for him. Second base, Andreas Jimenez of the Cleveland Guardians. Third base, Matt Chapman of the Toronto Blue Jays. Shortstop, rookie, Anthony Volpe of the New York Yankees. Hey, good for him. Catcher, Jonah Heim of the Texas Rangers. Pitcher, Jose Barrios of the Blue Jays. Left field, Stephen Kwan of the Cleveland Guardians. Center field, and a mainstay on here, Kevin Kiermaier of the Toronto Blue Jays. Right field, Adolis Garcia of the Texas Rangers. And for the utility spot, Mauricio Dubon of the Astros. Should I just keep going to the National League? Or do you want to talk about that?
No, I think he did good.
First base for the National League, Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Second base, Nico Horner of the Chicago Cubs. A lot of people are mad that it's not Bryson Stott from the Phillies. Says the person who covers the Phillies. I just had to throw that out there. I don't really know enough about defensive analytics to have an opinion on it, but a lot of people thought it should have been Bryson Stott. Third base, Cabrian Hayes of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Shortstop, Dansby Swanson of the Chicago Cubs. So, hey, look, another double play mates winning awards together. That's nice. Catcher, Gabriel Moreno. I don't know if it's Gabriel or Gabrielle. I've heard both ways. Of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Pitcher, Zach Wheeler of the Phillies. There's your Philadelphia Gold Glove. Left field, Ian Happ of the Cubs. 3 defensive Gold Gloves for the Cubbies. Good for them. Center field, Brenton Doyle of the Rockies. Right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. of the Padres. And utility, and the best defensive player in baseball this season, Ha-Seong Kim of the Padres. First Korean-born player to win a Gold Glove. And the first Asian infielder to win a Gold Glove in Major League Baseball history. Good for Ha-Seong Kim.
Yeah, very good for him.
Breaking barriers. Do we want to do like the finalists for like MVP, Cy Young, or do we want to save that for next week and kind of go through it a little more?
I think it's saved for next week.
Okay, I like that. It's getting very late. It's 12:15.
It's 12:15. Do you know where your kids are? No joke, but seriously.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, everything we have we could talk about next week. Oh, yeah. The Mark Canha trade. Mark Canha goes to the Tigers for one prospect.
He did, yes. Very interesting trade.
What are you doing? Your team can't hit. He was your best offensive player for the last month and a half of the season.
Maybe you got me.
Strange. It's because they don't have what's his name that you guys get. David Stearns. Is that it? David Stearns?
David Stearns, yep.
Oh, there we go. I don't know if I was thinking of the NBA commissioner.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. Yeah. All right.
I was second guess myself on that one. All right. Take it away, buddy.
Now, be sure to check out our revamped website, www.easternobserver.com, for the latest news in the world of baseball and so much more. We thank you for joining us in another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host, Denis Tuohy, and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time.